Her face looks like the anatomy of suffering. Her thick, dark eyes bespeak the title of a fighter. Always fighting off the bloodsuckers, mind fuckers, and the vibrations of the negative energy and judgment of the people in her life. And there's always someone, if not something, to bring her down and keep her on the ground, wrestling their darkness with her own. And if you didn't know her well enough, you too would think she's fighting off the urge to smile every once in a damn while. It's not that she doesn't know how, despite getting her wrong. Her smile, broad and ample opportunities from her family's constant undermining and criticism mixed in with humiliation. It all started when she learned how to die on the inside. Well, that's really where it ends. This is just the beyond of that. Her world began with requiems for love, companionship, and loyalty, where everything was seesawed from wrong to worse. But she couldn't tell the difference, and how could you when you spend your life already in line for the next monumental disaster? At the age of 3, she got a good glimpse of a gangbang porno, which would later become one of her sexual fantasies. Hiddenly stashed in the bootleg Disney movie videotapes, it was her father's porn. What a traumatic bore. After the tape was finished, she was later found humping and kissing the tall bedroom window next to the bed that her mother slept in during the day at that same time. This was the start of her nymphomania. As if that wasn't enough of an introduction to sex, her friends were a little bit older than her, providing more sexual scenarios filled with prepubescent lust and identity confusion too soon for counseling. She was barely 5 years old when she met them. They all hung out after school, living in the same building that they'd locked themselves inside of one of each other's rooms and began an orgy-style dry hump session with one another like horny animals. Boy on girl, girl on girl, nothing too serious. It got to the point where she needed a fix. An itch for sexual gratification. And when she needed that fix, she went searching for one of her friends, but instead found her friend's younger girl cousin and led her into the bedroom for a dry hump session. Door locked and everything muffled quiet, just like childhood sexuality at beck and call in the devil's playground of luxury. If it only ended there. At 6 years old, she was molested at her friend's house. His uncle brought a dog into the apartment and was told to keep him in the bathroom by her friend's mother. Ever curious to pet the dog, she went to go see it. Her friend's uncle decided to pet her too. Fondling her virgin mound with his fingers while she pet his dog. Her friend, completely unaware of this scenario, absent-mindedly yelling at her to get back to playing video games with him. And she would get back to him once his uncle stopped fingering her. And once it stopped feeling so good. And she knew deep down inside something was wrong with that situation, but when you get horny at 3 years old, who's to fucking blame? Now, skip forward 7 years into her life. Past the vandalism, kleptomania, and domestic abuse. Past the times when she'd only see her mother on her birthday and holidays from a selfish workaholic lifestyle. And if she did want to be around her mother, if available, she would get the cold shoulder. Past the time when she and her friends were beating up an abandoned car with baseball bats in the cul-de-sac of the tenement building of where they all lived, and pausing for a minute or two while they watched prostitutes climb half naked on a fucking 10-foot barbed wire gate, running away from police in broad daylight, bloodied feet hitting hard on the pavement while the cops in pursuit did the same, turning into the next block to arrest them. And past the time she witnessed her father being kicked out of the apartment by her mother, resulting in a chaotic brawl, parent versus parent. The police were called by her brother, and just as he was on the phone, she walked into the bathroom to find her father choking the life out of her mother as he looked into his daughter's eyes like a devil incarnate summoning evil into his mind. Past all but she moved far, far away from her motley crew, her father, her childhood crushes, and her sexual abusers. Past 7 years from then, to find her comatose from her first suicide attempt with pills. One of the biggest letdowns. Not even death wanted her around. It looked like she had lost what little control she had, and being undersexed from being an ugly duckling wasn't the hardest part. She liked that not everybody started to know what sex was, and didn't hesitate to becoming all flirtatious with Jimmy and Matthew and John and Jordan and Sage. The hardest part was accepting the constant neglect and repulsion from her family, and wishing she could just get more loving attention from the people that she was forced to love and live with. Skip 3 years when she had an overdue criminal record, and lost her virginity to her first lover. You'd think by now she'd be battling sex and drug addictions. But the only addiction she had was hope. Hope. Even though hoping is hopeless. She says her life up to this point being told sounds like an after-school special. How it's educated her by the teacher of pain and the high tolerance you attain when you graduate. Tells me with thick tears raining down her cloudy face that the only thing she's accomplished so far in her life is to turn her damage into scentless indifference, courtesy of the world. And who better to learn from than the person right next to you? She assures me that no one really cares about your sorry-ass past. But what's it matter at this point? She's already ripped open her wounds in graphic detail and assures me there's always more skeletons up and down the lightless corridor of your psyche, always tripping over them, and the ways they seem to resurrect themselves in moments, demanding full attention. Then it all leads back to her suicide attempt. She complained about not being loved enough or at all, and who the fuck would care if she's dead or alive? And that was that. She became mute after that. A catatonic misanthrope. Her family checking up on her when she stayed in her bedroom a little too long and too silent. Instead of feeling ill at ease, she now felt like a newfound liability. She says, sometimes it's just too hard to handle it all by yourself, all alone in an overcrowded world, downtrodden, by this point yelling, why the fuck couldn't there have just been one person to talk to stand up for me, to care about the way I feel, the way I've been brought down and fucked around with, just one fucking person. I said to her, oh, what a tragedy to be self-sufficient, to lick your own wounds, to trust yourself, to be there for yourself, and to love yourself better than anyone else can ever possibly fucking do. She says to me, try seeing what you need to see in your own blinding darkness. I dare you to.
Will you please take this stuff as quickly as possible off the stage?